Hi everyone, Dr. Saiti, Team MDS Conquer. So the next topic for your finish line is on saliva in health and disease. So it's important aspect related to the physiology point of view. So it can be asked in basic paper of any of the departments. So let's start it. So in case if it comes as an essay, it usually comes as an essay. So in case if it comes, you can ask, you can answer, or you can just elaborate your essay by adding little of your anatomy part as well before directly jumping into physiology. If it comes as a short, you can directly jump into the physiology aspect. So these are the contents that you need to write. And you can give a little introduction. So introduction is up to you, whatever you feel that is more appropriate you can write, but you have to give what is exactly the saliva. It is a serous mucoserous secretion which is being produced by the salivary glands, which has lubricative, cleansing, antimicrobial, excretory as well as digestive function. So this line is actually important. The rest is up to you. You can put forward whatever you feel. So the coming to the structure, you can give what is a ductal system, the intercalated duct, the striated as well as the excretory duct. And again you can classify based on the major and the minor salivary glands, what are the major, what are the minor. You can just classify accordingly. And again based on the histo, if it is opath related, you have to give a histochemical nature classification as well. So you can give it as a mucus, serous and mixed. So like that you can give. So this classification if you write, it will be fetching. And again based on the ductal system, it's again classified as simple and compound, which you can write if you want to, or else you can end there. And the basic anatomy of what is a position, what is a duct that is related to that particular gland, and also where is the ductal opening, and what is a capsule, whether it's present or not. So this if you write in your essay, like if you represent in this box form, okay, if question is asked as a physiology and if you elaborate it right on anatomy, again that is not fetching, okay, but examiner should know that you know the anatomy part good as well. So you can just put the small box, you can just draw a box, you can just divide it as row and columns and give one line. So entire anatomy will be in a small box, okay, they will feel yeah you have gone through the anatomy as well. And next directly you can jump into the physiology. Okay, this is how you have to answer if it is an essay question. If it is short, you can directly jump to the physiology part. Okay, so the main physiology part, it's actually the thing, it is divided into two step process. In the first step, it is mainly based on the sodium chloride flux or the transepithelial chloride movement, which mainly results for the water component of the saliva. So the resultant osmotic gradient of the sodium chloride will cause the water movement via water channels, which is across a tight junction to produce a plasma like thing of the primary fluid. Okay. Next, the ionic composition of the primary fluid is again modified by the salivary ducts by the action of absorption and the secretory pathways. So this is the two things that you have to write. Okay. So just write it as a two-step process. In the first step, the sodium chloride flux will be there, which composed or which is constituent of the plasma like primary fluid of the saliva. The next, again the ducts play an important role in action of absorption and secretory pathways, by which the ionic composition of the primary fluid is being modified. Okay, and if you can put forward this diagram for the physiology point of view, it's fetching. So you can just draw the diagram of how the sodium chloride flux is being acting, that's enough. So just put a small diagram and the sodium chloride and water flux showing the diagram, that's enough. So next we are the physiology of that is done. Next, the composition, so the saliva, water and solids. Okay, so this is the composition. If you can write in a neat form, in a box form, that's enough. So you can write the protein, the nitrogenous, the lipids, the enzymes, the other organic compounds and the antibacterial proteins. And for the perio point of view, again they ask about the important immunoglobulins in saliva, that could be IgA followed by IgM and IgE, and also the other proteins like the albumin. So it's again it related to your own subject that you have to highlight the composition. So overall if you write this composition, that's very good. So just make a note of this, students, that's good. So next, the inorganic components, the calcium, phosphate, sodium, all the elements that you can write, and this you have to highlight the specific gravity of saliva, you should highlight the pH range of saliva, and also the average pH. Okay, this is very important if you put forward, and the various cells that are present. So organic component, the inorganic component, the various cells, and the gases that are being dissolved. So all these if you have to write. Okay. So as you can see, this is the organic component, which includes the proteins, enzymes, lipids, nitrogenous and others, and antimicrobial proteins, whereas the inorganic we have seen the cells and the gases, and the specific gravity, the pH you have to write. So this is important thing. So if the physiology answer is being, that is the heart of your answer, so you have to write of what is the main steps of process of being saliva produced and the composition, and then you have to go for the functions. So functions, if you can write like this, how the lubricants, how the antimicrobial, growth factors, mucosal integrity, buffering, all these important functions if you can write along with the components that are being involved, that will be more fetching. So just have a note of this, what are the growth factors that are playing a very important role, what are the, how it is being acting as a cleansing thing because of the presence of water, how the mucosal integrity is being maintained because of the mucins and electrolytes, what is the buffering action is because of the bicarbonates, phosphate ions and the proteins, and next lubrication and all this. If you can, antimicrobial action, so especially question can be asked what are the antimicrobial action, then you have to put forward all these special components. Okay. So which are being here, these special components of antimicrobial you have to write. So again very short can be asked individually, so you have to pick from here and you have to write. And again for food preparation, for water and mucins, for digestion, which all components play an important role, and for taste the gustin plays an important role. So like that you can answer. Okay. For the speech, the mucins and the water plays an important role. So these are very important. Okay. So again the saliva is it's of two types, the unstimulated and the stimulated. Unstimulated is nothing but even in resting conditions the saliva can be produced. Okay. This that things you can write, it keeps the mouth moist and lubricates the mucous membrane, whereas stimulated saliva, it is being stimulated by any exogenous stimulants. Okay. So next coming to the collection, so you have done with the composition, the main functions of the saliva, and next coming to the, and also you have done with what is stimulated and what is unstimulated, and then coming to the collection. So you can collect either in the draining method or in the spitting method or the suction techniques. Okay. So next coming to the implications for the oral health especially. So for the dental caries, it's for clearance of the dietary sugars, for neutralization and buffering of the acids, for supply of ions, for remineralization, and also anti-plaque. Okay. So these are the main things that you have to put forward, and again the neutralization and buffering action of acids and plaque is very important. It's mainly due to the phosphate buffer and the bicarbonates. Okay. So next for the perio point of view, this is very important, how it plays a very important role in plaque formation. So if you can write this, it's good. The first stage of bacterial plaque is formation of the acquired pellicle. Okay, that is made up of the salivary proteins and other macromolecules. Again its protection against the soft tissue damage because of the mucins, the proline rich glycoproteins, which play very important role in lubrication, because of which it is being protected either due to mastication or swallowing and speaking. Okay, these points you can put forward. So important functions, again you can elaborate like this. So again the antibacterial and antifungal effects also you can write. Okay. So this, it gives a description of how it shows. So in patients with low unstimulated salivary flow rate and clearance of bacteria and desquamated epithelial cells is reduced greatly, increasing the tendency for halitosis to develop. So that is an important perio point of view. So next coming to the saliva indices. So you can again give detailed description of individual individual functions, especially in the oral health point of view, like dental caries and plaque formation. Okay, and antibacterial effect. So again in oral health you can give, so saliva in health comes like oral health. that is there. Now saliva in disease. Okay, so its question is asked as saliva in health and disease. So first you give the main physiology, first you anyways you will write the INAT, then you have to go for the main physiology of composition, the functions, and you have to give a heading of saliva in health. In health again for dental caries, the plaque, the antibacterial, the digestive effect and the antifungal effect you have to elaborate. Then again you have to go for saliva in disease. Okay, saliva is being the most non-invasive diagnostic tool nowadays. Okay, it's a diagnostic tool that is being used. So it is also for bacterial adhesion and biofilm formation. It's okay. So again in dental caries, so increased number of how it is used in dental caries for detection of dental caries, increased number of Streptococcus mutans, lactobacilli in saliva in patients with increased caries prevalence has been seen. So especially in presence of root caries. So if you collect the saliva and if you look for the colonization of these bacteria, it is being more. So like that it is used as a it is used as a diagnostic tool, and also it serves for the bacterial transmission and reservoir for bacterial colonization. Okay, and also the reflect of this bacterial species have also been seen in plaque and periodontal pockets. So this is how you have to write in disease conditions, and also in periodontal disorders. These are the things you can write which have been described in this slide. You can just have a look and write. Okay. So what are the factors that have been seen in under gingivitis and periodontal conditions, like the elastase, alpha 1 antitrypsin, alpha 2 or elastase inhibitor, that is alpha 2 macroglobulin, and protease inhibitor, that is alpha 1 antitrypsin, also which considerably related to gingivitis and periodontitis. So you can just write. And next, applications of diabetes, of the diagnostic applications of saliva. So in diabetes mellitus, the saliva albumin and also IgG concentration in the non-stimulated saliva are actually lower than compared to healthy individuals. So if you can take a saliva as a diagnostic tool, and if you go for these tests, you can have a presumptive diagnosis that it could be diabetes mellitus patient. Okay. Next, burning mouth syndrome, even that you can see. Like how the salivary potassium chloride phosphate concentrations are being increased in these patients. Okay, the saliva flow is less, as well as these concentrations are being increased. So like that it's you have to see, and even the mucin concentration is increased. Okay, whereas the protein concentration is low when compared to control subjects. So just you can write a line of every disease, that's enough. Coming to the autoimmune diseases, so there will be elevated levels of IgA, IgE, so and also elevated levels of rheumatoid factor and any antinuclear antibodies in the saliva. Coming to the cardiovascular disease, so that's being indicated that saliva amylase levels were low in pre-operative patients with ruptured aortic aneurysm. Then there was an increased risk of mortality. So something serum amylase is actually related to cardiovascular disease. So like that you can relate. So mainly the first point you can write, this is not required, you can write with the first point. And again in the viral diseases, if you perform a PCR techniques using a saliva as your diagnostic tool, you can get that specific virus if you want. And also the bacterial diseases, also the Helicobacter pylori diagnosis, and also the immune response to that bacterial infection, especially the IgG, IgA, IgM also you can see, and also the detection of that specific bacteria you can see, and also antibodies to that bacteria also you can see in the saliva. And again the fungal diseases, you can see the Candida albicans colonization in the saliva. Even in oncology point of view, the P53, the calcium 125, all these important oncology related aspect glycoproteins can be observed in the saliva. Okay. So just write the heading, students, of where all the saliva can be used as a diagnostic tool. So in health, it prevents the occurrence of dental caries by neutralization of acids and all. Also it's an important role for forming the plaque and the biofilm, and it's important antibacterial and antifungal and antiviral aspects you can put in health. Again in disease, dental caries and plaque, how it is used or what all factors are there you can write. And again diagnostic purpose, like the autoimmune diseases, the viral, the bacterial, the fungal, the periodontal diseases, the dental caries, as well as in the diabetes mellitus, in cardiovascular diseases, okay. So you, and oncology, all these, how the diagnostic tool, the saliva is being used as a non-invasive diagnostic tool, you can just write one line. So the headings are very important. So write the names of the headings, like the diseases, the burning mouth syndrome or whatever, what all diseases we have discussed so far. If you write, it's enough. And finally you can end up with xerostomia and sialorrhea. So xerostomia is nothing but decrease saliva, decrease in the saliva levels. So it results in dry mouth. You can just give this description, and the causes you can write, what are the causes, if you want to you can write, or just write what is xerostomia and what is sialorrhea, which is nothing but the hyperfunction and increased saliva production, or also called as stylism. So what are the causes you can write, okay. So especially the, if it is related to prosto point of view, so the conditions which relate is ill fitting dentures, so like that you can put. And for the pedo point of view, it is the teething, so like that you can just have a idea and you can just put those words, okay. So that's it. You can conclude that saliva plays a very important role in health as well as in the disease state, and how it is playing a very important role as a non-invasive diagnostic tool. If you can just write few lines in the conclusion, that's enough. And references, you can just give your references from important